Hello, fellow humans with the internet. I am Jax Mcbrayer, and this is Jackson Cinema, the show whose goal is to save you time on the internet so you can get right to the watching. Instead of scrolling for 30 minutes, you actually get to enjoy the thing you paid for, which is movies and stuff. Also, TV. So, I have a new Friday theme, which is I'm going to give you 5 recommendations of movies, 5 recommendations of TV shows, and I thought for the movies specifically, I'm going to limit myself to one movie from each platform. With the TV shows, I'm not giving myself that caveat because sometimes I just like 2 shows on the same service, and I haven't watched to completion all of the shows I'm going to recommend because I want to give you recommendations that I am still currently watching and enjoying. Let's start with Adventures in Babysitting. Now, this movie has a title that did not pique my interest as a little kid when it came out, but this movie is actually awesome. I remember watching it with my sister back when we had Blockbuster, and she rented it, and I really enjoyed this movie, and I wasn't expecting to, because Adventures in Babysitting, I was thinking of Babysitter's Club, which were books she read, and I knew they were not aimed at me as a little boy. So I thought, oh, not my kind of movie. Totally wrong. This movie is really fun, and I actually rewatched it relatively recently as an adult, and it's quite entertaining. I recommend that. This is not a review show. I'm just going to get through these as quickly as possible because the goal is that you can stop watching this video and go watch something on one of the services you pay for or not, which brings me to Tubi, which again is free. You can just download it and use it. And I just checked, and Catch Me If You Can is on there right now. And that movie is great. I mean, who doesn't want to watch Tom Hanks chase Leonardo DiCaprio? It's a great cat and mouse story where they're 2 very clever characters trying to one-up each other. And it's a fun time. It's one of those movies that my mom and dad had up at their cabin. And it was one of those movies that they're like, yeah, I could rewatch that. It's good. It's a solid flick. And you can watch it for free on Tubi. So check that out. My next recommendation is for Netflix. Netflix has Inception. And Inception is great. Now, my personal favorite Inception story is when my Nana talked to me. No, my Nana is my grandma, for those of you who don't speak Italian. But my Nana, she is okay at the time. When did the movie come out? I forget, but she was in her 90s when, this little old Italian lady, she's like, oh, Jackson, did you see Inception? How great was it when she was folding the world onto itself? And imagine a cute little 90-year-old woman geeking out about a movie like that. For me, that will always be tied to Inception, and one of the reasons I love Inception. Also, it's a movie about making movies. If you haven't watched the Wisecrack video on Inception, and you've already watched Inception, watch that. Never watch a Wisecrack video if you haven't seen the thing they're talking about, unless you don't care about spoilers. I personally really care about spoilers. My Amazon Prime recommendation is Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was one of my top movies of 2014. The only reason I remember when this movie came out is I did my 365 movies, which is where I watched a movie I hadn't seen. I watched 365 movies I hadn't seen, and that was super difficult because even if you do something you love, if you make it a goal that you have to do, it takes the joy out of it because human beings are human beings. It's annoying. Also, you know what? Just because if you like podcasts, check out Hidden Brain. It delves into a lot of stuff that people don't know about how their brains work. And I just started listening to an episode on how to form habits, which I thought is really apropos for the new year because people make New Year's resolutions. I myself am actually just trying to do this at least every week, so these are my Friday shows where I recommend things to watch, and that's cool. I can do this. This is a doable thing. On top of that, if you want to see a deep dive of any of the things I recommend, comment below and I'll do a 5 to 10 minute video on that thing specifically. Otherwise, I'm just going to do the thing I feel like doing. But if I get user feedback and I'll be like, okay, this is what people want, I'll do one about that. Nightcrawler. Yes, so Nightcrawler is great. It's a dark, it's a dark suspense thriller. Jake Gyllenhaal has never been creepier, and it's awesome. It's one of those movies that completely floored me. Highly recommend it. Now for the TV shows. Good Omens was created by Neil Gaiman, who is amazing, one of the most gifted writers we have currently living, and I really enjoyed the show. It took a little bit to get going, but once it did, especially those last 3 or 4 episodes, I was like, well, I've been pacing myself with this show, but now, nope, not pacing myself. I'm going to binge the last 3 or 4 episodes. That's exactly what I did. On Hulu is Runaways. I am currently working my way through the most recent season, season 3, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. On Disney Plus, if you have Disney Plus and you don't have Hulu, you can watch seasons 1 and 2 of Runaways. They don't have season 3 because season 3 is currently airing, and I guess it's still produced by Hulu. But since it's a Marvel property, Disney Plus has seasons 1 and 2. I don't know the legality of that one, but that's how it is. So there you go. Another thing I'm going to recommend that I haven't started rewatching, but is incredible. Gargoyles is right up there with Batman the Animated Series and X-Men as far as why people talk about 90s cartoons with such amazing reverence. It's one of those cartoons that didn't write down to its audience. It respected us enough to know, well, some of these references you're not going to get unless you look it up on that new thing called the internet. And that's amazing. It's a really good show that I'm proud to say I rushed home and watched that on Disney Afternoon. I watched the first episode of The Witcher. I haven't watched more of it yet because I'm watching Runaways instead. The Witcher, solid so far. Only saw the first episode, but it's, swords and sorcery. Also, maybe the first truly good video game adaptation other than Castlevania, which is also on Netflix. Little extra recommendations there. But yeah, The Witcher is a Netflix original, and so far so good. My Friday episode has just now been complete. I hope you enjoyed, and comment below with your favorite recommendation that you absolutely love, and also things you want me to do a future episode on in a long format. Thank you. There's a lot of amazing things on the internet, and I really appreciate you watching my video. Be excellent to each other, and party on.